All right, we're here with a 1v1, myself versus Felkon. I'll be on the glorious might of the High Elves, playing against Felkon's Tomb Kings. Let's take a look at these armies here real quick. Of course, I'm not going against Felkon in the sense that I know I'm going to win. Felkon was helping me out over the weekend, teaching me some fun things about the ins and outs of competitive play. So this is kind of one of our practice matches that we had a lot of fun with. And I think it's a pretty good fight, so let's take a look here. So in the front line, we've got 3 units of Spearmen, supported by 2 units of Lothern Sea Guard, and then 3 more units of Lothern Sea Guard in the back, and then 2 units of Phoenix Guard. Now, the mentality behind this build here is really that we're focusing on the heavy AP anti-large of the Phoenix Guard. That's going to help out with any of the big anti-large contracts that you deal with the Tomb Kings. Now, when you are going about these builds, you typically want to focus on 1 or 2 things that really kind of help you, I guess, push the win, your win condition, as it were. That's what Felkon was trying to explain to me. And in that are our little threesome right here. That's kind of disgusting. Now we've got the Flamespire Phoenix, we've got Tyrion, and then we've got a Lore Master of Hoeth, my favorite caster in the High Elf army. Now he has Spirit Leech as well as Earthblood. On Tyrion we get his typical kit with Riposte and all his fun items such as Sunfang and Heart of Avalorn. And then on Flamespire Phoenix, you know, you get his awesome little birdie poops, as well as his ability to just pretty much do flame damage or fire damage, magic damage, AP. A lot of a really strong kit for 1,300 some odd points makes the Flamespire Phoenix actually quite good. Now, while Felkon gets in line and I can do the same thing while my armies both move, let's take a look at Felkon's build. Now, he went with the front line here of Skeleton Spearmen. You can see that stretching all the way back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. Now, with Tomb Kings, of course, having bodies helps you get to that realm of souls that you can trigger 1, 2, 3, and then eventually you're summoned to get some really good regeneration, some health, or some resurrections as well. Now, he did go with a Kemrian War Sphinx, as well as a Hero Titan. And as well, for the leadership, we can see that we have High Queen Khalida, a very uncommon pick nowadays, as well as a Lich Priest of Light, going with Fa's Protection and Bjorn as Time Warp. Now, as far as the backline goes, we see the Blessed Legion of Fakafir, with their Sundering Armor ability, as well as another unit of Skeleton Archers. We can see the Kepra Guard in the dead center as well, and then 2 units of Nehekar Horsemen. So, as these 2 armies kind of get into place, I'll talk a little bit about something that Felkon was teaching me when it came to this fight. He was saying that especially if you're playing as High Elves, the biggest thing you want to worry about is not taking your units and having them fire individually across the line. You want to have all of your range units focus down one thing at a time. This way you really kind of maximize their damage, and the fact that if one of them gets compromised over here, or over here, you still have 3 more units firing onto a high value target. By doing that, you maximize their ability to reduce the effectiveness of something that can really threaten your army. Especially when you look at an army like the High Elves, who do not have a huge amount of access to ranged AP missile fire. If you take a look at it, they really only have the Sisters of Avalorn as well as a Eagleclaw Bolt Thrower. So maximizing your volume of shots is how you really kind of get over the hurdle of that reduced amount of AP missile fire. Okay, army's getting in movement here. And one quick note on the Lothern Sea Guard versus Archers is that the Lothern Sea Guard actually have 1 more AP than Archers. Archers have 2 AP, Lothern Sea Guard have 3. So that is something to really take note of here. Alright, so now that the fight is kind of getting a little more underway, we're going to fast forward this to a point where it really gets kicking. And there we go. So our Lothern Sea Guard is just kind of firing at anything that gets in range right now. We don't have any good high-value targets for them, but that should soon change as things move more and more into range. High Queen Khalida just kind of skirting through the lands over here, looking to just do some initial plotting attacks. We already can get that Hero Titan getting a good focus down over there. Little shot right into those Phoenix Guard, doing a lot of damage, actually. But the Hero Titan is now getting completely focused by the Lothern Sea Guard. You can see his health just chunking away. You got the bird poops dropping all the way under those Skeleton Spearmen over there. Wake of Fire is the name of that ability, just doing tons and tons of damage. And then, the big first charge of Spearmen into these Spearmen. So Spearmen on Spearmen action, some 2 spears here. The Hero Titan getting into that middle of that fight, getting poked by those Spearmen. Now the big thing here is we want to get those Phoenix Guard onto both the Hero Titan and the Kemrian War Sphinx as fast as we can. getting those Skeleton Spearmen pushing through a little bit here onto the Lothern Sea Guard, shutting down their range fire, unfortunately. But look at this. We have the Flamespire Phoenix jumping onto High Queen Khalida and Big Daddy Tyrion here, looking to just bring the fury of Assyrian onto the High Queen. Now, High Queen does a little explosion there, clearing the way for her to get out of this engagement. It was pretty unfavorable. We did have the stack of the Phoenix Guard jumping in there as well. Now look at this, a good rear charge from Felkon into the net, from the Nehekar and Horsemen into the back of my unbraced Phoenix Guard, all through my Lothern Sea Guard, just doing tons of damage. Now, in this little quick engagement, we're trying to keep the Flamespire Phoenix and the Tyrion together. Those two used in conjunction can shore up any of the difficulties with each other's stat line, as far as not having magic abilities and magic and or fire damage on Tyrion, and having a low amount of defensive capabilities on the Phoenix. Now, Khalida has thus moved over to the center of the line here, and really, my entire line is pretty much compromised in its engagement as far as its ability to shoot ranged fire. The Phoenix Guard here does need to get on to this Khemrian War Sphinx. God, I almost threw up right there. Khemrian War Sphinx here. The big thing to note, though, is that the Khemrian War Sphinx has the ability to move quite quickly through combat. And this can actually cause what is considered to be a dropped attack order, but it's not quite really. Since the Phoenix Guard are in defensive mode, they've moved out of range, or the Khemrian War Sphinx has moved out of range of the Phoenix Guard, so you have to make sure you're maintaining attack orders on something like a War Sphinx. It can move out of range quite quickly. We have the heroic Lore Master of Hoeth going against this Hero Titan, which is on its last limb here. We saw Sunfang earlier, just barely missed the Kepra Guard, which wasn't used quite effectively enough. The Flamespire Phoenix looking to get a good attack order here onto the High Queen Khalida, swooping down onto a unit of Spearmen, which is not too good, but Tyrion is looking to bring the Fury of Assyrian once more, slapping into that Lich Priest, doing 50% damage already. Hero Titan on its last limb, like I was saying earlier, 764 health. You can see that just chipping down hard and heavy. Bjorna's Time Warp on the Kepra Guard as well, giving them some nice speed and melee attack to help keep them in the game. Felkon is focusing down the Flamespire Phoenix handedly with both of his archer units. They do not have AP, but they do have a massive volume of shots. Tyrion here using Phantom Riposte as well as Foe Seeker to try and mitigate some of the damage coming his way to pull out of this engagement here. Little bomb dropping onto those Blessed Legion of Fakaf there. Man, Khalida's ranged ability is so potent. It has been doing tons of damage over here to the Spearman units, to this Phoenix Guard unit, doing tons. Oh, a misdrop on the Phoenix Wake of Fire, dropping into the Phoenix Guard here. We can get a little more action from the Flamespire Phoenix and Tyrion as she swoops down onto not the Khemrian War Sphinx, but Khalida once more. And we can see plenty of range fire now coming from this Lothern Sea Guard unit into the Khemrian War Sphinx. We got a big hold pocket right there as Khalida and the Phoenix and Tyrion all duke it out with the Kepra Guard all in tow. Lots of damage being poured out. This is really the make or break it portion of the fight right now. You can see everything's kind of consolidated into this center pocket here. Tomb Strike from the there we go, from Khalida there going off, trying to get as much damage in. Ushapti summoned from Felkon to help mitigate some of that pool damage in there. Unfortunately, Tyrion is now terrified, though, by the Khemrian War Sphinx, and we can see if he can come back from this little engagement here. He is not in good sorts. The Flamespire Phoenix also being shut down, completely broken and shattered right now. A little health out from the Earthblood, trickling into Tyrion, helping him stabilize here. But there's just so much going on in this little center pocket. Tyrion is definitely outmatched, especially with the amount of AP damage coming his way. Oh! What is this? 'Tis a Sunfang dropping down on the Blessed Legion, ripping through them, doing tons of damage and wiping out that unit. And we can also see at the same time that Khalida hath fallen to the mighty Tyrion. Oh, no, there she is. I thought she was killed. But Khalida doing another explosion over there, just destroying this unit of Spearmen. That's the nice thing about that Khalida's explosion ability, is that it can be used both offensively and defensively, right? If you're trying to get out of a sticky engagement, you can pop that explosion ability, jump out of that quickly, but you can also use it to finish off a low unit count unit in this Spearman unit, which is now just freshly terrified. Boom! Heart of Avalon going off on Tyrion, giving him a huge, much-needed recovery to his health as he duels High Queen Khalida, who has got 250 health, and boom! She has finally fallen now to the Prince of Eataine. Now, looking over the rest of this battle here, we can see that we do still have a very high health Khemrian War Sphinx. The balance of power is now shifting in Felkon's favor pretty handedly, even though we have dealt that blow to Khalida and the Lich Priest of Light is on his last little hoove. Tyrion is pretty much relegated to just knocking things apart with the Lore Master of Hoeth, getting a nice Earthblood here to try and spread the health across both these single entity targets. Remember, Earthblood is tapped out now at I think 4 or 5 targets after the latest patch. But we do have the Phoenix Guard falling as well, and we can see that the majority of our High Elf units are going to be mopped up now by Felkon. So, taking a look at this fight in retrospect, and after having kind of debriefed with Felkon after it, he was saying two of the biggest kind of shortcomings of my approach, not necessarily my build, was that I was too stacked up, too condensed. And you can see that at the very beginning of this fight. As soon as the front line meets, you can see portions of the Skeleton Spearmans dripping into the Lothern Sea Guard. So what Felkon was saying is take your Lothern Sea Guard and make a concave, through the back of your army. So one on the far left flank, one slightly behind that, one in the dead center, slightly behind the last one. Then your next unit is going to be in line with that third one second one we were talking about, and the last one will be mirrored to the other side as well. So this way you constantly have amount of fire that you can be pouring onto the Hero Titan, onto the Khemrian War Sphinx, because the Hero Titan has 750 health for the pretty much last half of that game. And I did a poor job of really focusing him down. But at the same time, we were able to keep the Flamespire Phoenix and Tyrion in close order to do a lot of damage to High Queen Khalida and threaten her and keep her out of any really good, strong strategic engagements. But there were a couple times where she did kind of lose that cohesion. So hopefully, guys, you really enjoyed this little playthrough here today. This was mainly to kind of showcase some of the things that I'm learning from Felkon that maybe you guys will get a little bit of benefit from as I kind of try to get a little bit better at the actual multiplayer competitive portion of the game. I played it so much more at the beginning portion of Total War Warhammer 2 and at the launch of the game and at the end of Total War Warhammer 1 that I really want to try and get back in that saddle. So I figure showing you some of these practice games and what Felkon has taught me can help a lot of you guys trying to break into the multiplayer realm, some things that you're a little scared of, so on and so forth. I'm going to be releasing a video that kind of goes through how to kind of organize your deployment and how to really kind of go about moving through the battle map if you're a beginner to the game, because a lot of people seem to struggle with that. So I can really help you out with that, some of the stuff that I've learned as far as hotkeys and how to move around the map. Additionally, if you really enjoy High Elves and if you enjoy Tomb Kings, you can check out the video I did on Chaos Bane. It is an ARPG and an action role-playing game, much in the same vein as Diablo 2, 3, and soon to be 4, I guess you could say, Path of Exile, so on and so forth. I was actually playing it a ton this weekend, and I really, really enjoyed the newest DLC that they just launched for the Tomb Kings. So I was playing as the High Elf Lore Master, so it was only fitting that a High Elf versus Tomb Kings game was fortuitous, as I was playing so many I was killing so many Tomb Kings over the weekend playing Chaos Bane. So I'll link that to the end of this video here. You can see it as it comes up in the credits, and you can see if you want to check that game out and take a look at how it plays through. Again, I personally love it. You can see if you really enjoy it. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one, and take care.